Welcome to Come Well to Amias as I am, as you are. Visit asyouare.com today and purchase your products, book our services and consultations, and enroll in the classes and courses. Visit asyouare.com today. Now, without further ado, let's begin today's show. Quick announcement. The first 10 students to enroll in the classes and courses on the website receive 3 free products for a total of $70 free. The first product is Crystal Clear. The second product is Urban Love. And the third product is Spiray. 3 free products upon enrollment. Also, each student receives 1 ring upon graduation. 1 ring upon graduation. Rings made of stone and crystal. Those receive a $40 discount if paid in advance. Full price if paid into payments. Come take your consciousness and your spirituality to the next level. Now let's begin today's show. Yes, welcome back. Welcome to Come Well to Amias as I am, as you are. Today will be part 2 of Is My Light Getting Through to You? Is my light getting through to you? This is part 2. So don't look at this first and then look at part 1. Look at part 1 first, then come back to this at part 2. So we're going to touch upon just a few more points. I didn't get to finish the other day. I had to run out and do a few things, take care of, drop some orders off and things of that nature. For y'all sometimes wondering, like, what's this jewelry he's wearing? What is this jewelry he's wearing? A lot of the stuff I have over my neck is custom made from a Taurusinian constellation, a spirit from the Taurusinian constellation. These things in my hands are actually the rings that are on the website that you can purchase for yourself. A lot of people purchase this, the crystal quartz stone. Very powerful symbolically, energetically, and elementally. It does things. It speaks to you. So this is jewelry that you can purchase on the website. These are also crystal quartz on agate stones and, and brass wiring, all homemade. This ain't Amazon. This is As You Are, asyouare.com. It's not Amazon.com. And I appreciate y'all patience. I appreciate the support. And you guys just keep me here doing this homework, doing this inner work to bring forth the light back to you. To remind you, just as I was reminded of my power and my inheritance. Okay. My mind's in a few different places at the moment. I was taking care of some class notes and start class next weekend. Of course, y'all know. I'm sure some of my students and attendees are watching the video. And I've been going through a few class notes, getting certain things organized, and just making it happen as we continue life with awareness. We're on the third doorway, or the third point. The third doorway is why don't they get what I'm saying? Now, this is something that y'all may be asking people sometimes. When you receive a certain gnosis or knowledge of self, and you receive this light and you give this light to someone, or you share your knowledge or your gnosis with someone, you may be asking yourself, why the hell aren't they understanding what I'm telling them? I don't understand. I'm saying it quite simple. I'm explaining it as clear as possible. Why don't they understand what I'm saying to them? You saying I'm giving it more simple than it was given to me. I really don't understand why this person just isn't understanding what I'm saying and how I'm explaining it to them. Well, you have to keep this in mind. Now, this was mentioned in that little short video clip that I did maybe about 2 videos back. It was like a little 6-minute, almost 7-minute short video clip. And I mentioned something about something called the longitudinal fissure. It's in the brain. This is what you call that line. Where you see this part in my hair. If you have braids or whatever it may be, you have a part in your hair. This part is symbolic of the longitudinal fissure, the part in the brain. Let me just go into the point and I'll explain I'll give more clarity on what this doorway is pertaining to. In regards to a short video clip, as I previously mentioned, that I created entitled, "Am I Getting Through to You?" It's a short video clip, not the full part 1, because this is part 2 of part 1. It's not part 1, it's the video before part 1. In regards to a short video clip that I created entitled, "Am I Getting Through to You?" with my symbol on there, the class symbol, the university symbol, the course symbol, the symbol that's on all my pictures and images on all my beginning of my videos, all my videos. I mentioned a location of the brain called the longitudinal fissure. This point is extremely significant in understanding why one may not be getting their gnosis through to another. Even if the gnosis is explained extremely simple, you have to understand this part called the longitudinal fissure in the brain. The split of the longitudinal fissure between both brain hemispheres, or both sides of the brain, validates a split in your perception in how you perceive reality, in how it should be perceived as a whole, but instead a reality can be perceived as 2 different sides. This is where you get in what we know as judgment, right and wrong, good and bad, which is the illusional aspect of this reality. Means seeing this reality in parts rather than one operating intelligence, which isn't apart from itself. So when you see this as a form of judgment, this you have people saying that's bad, that's good, that's wrong, that's right, that's pure, that's impure. You shouldn't do that, you should do this. You know, good people do that, bad people do that. Those people are saints, those people are sinners. And you have this kind of pick side language, choice and decision, choices, decisions. And this is where you get choice and decision. It's part of like dealing with the brain, choice and decision, choice and decision. Good, bad, right, wrong, pure, impure, I don't know, innocence, evil, whatever. This is the illusional aspect of this reality, which means seeing this reality in parts rather than one operating intelligence, which is not a part of itself and apart from itself. I'm going to go with this and stay along at the moment. When one comes to this deep, profound understanding that of a one operating intelligence, When one comes to a deep understanding, a deep, profound understanding, and sees both perceived parts as one play or one dance of the infinite, the longitudinal fissure brain gap closes. So instead of the brain hemispheres being like this means right and wrong, good and bad, pure and evil. When you begin to put this together as one operating intelligence, this split or parting of the seas, like in the Moses, Biblios, when you say no, what's good is bad for somebody else, then this happens. And you say, well, what's bad is good for somebody else, then this happens. And you say, well, I was wrong on my math, but I was right to pick that number in lottery. This happens. When you say, well, I only know about heaven because they talked about a hell, so I guess it's all just one thing. This happens. When you say, well, that's poisonous, but in certain countries and continents, poison is medicinal. This happens. The longitudinal fissure begins to bridge and come together when you begin to see this whole reality as one operating intelligence. Now, this is for people who contain that gnosis, that light and darkness, such as myself, such as very rare few others. And we don't really bump into each other like that because we're very, very few that really put this thing together and trying to understand this whole experience and existence and reality as one whole operating intelligence. So, when one comes to this deep, profound understanding and see both perceived parts as actually one play or one dance of the infinite, the longitudinal fissure closes and becomes one flat, smooth surface, as opposed to one still seeing this reality as a split reality, whereas their brain remains split in two hemispheres, a deep split, as two brain hemispheres. So, with knowing this, one who is wholeness or about wholeness, which is whole biology, to become the mind of God, as I mentioned in the video, then you become the body of God. So, with one knowing this truth, this fact, one who is wholeness or of wholeness, which is a whole biology, one who is of whole biology or whole anatomy, communicating with another who is of a split biology or a split anatomy and a split brain, miscommunication occurs. Translation becomes lost because they're not vibrating on the same frequency or sharing the same signal with you. In fact, keep this in mind because it's also very important to understand. Like I told you, I'm a science biologist. In fact, when one is within natural wholeness, first mentally, then biologically, then anatomically. When one is within natural wholeness, their lungs and kidneys even become closer as well. They don't infuse to become the smooth ashlar, the flat, smooth surface like the brain does, but the lungs, which have a certain kind of respective distance from each other, a respective proximity, get closer to the heart. And this is why the breathing aspect, this is why you think you begin to breathe more gracefully. You're more calm, you're more relaxed when you put both right and wrong, good and bad, pure and evil, heaven and hell, God and devil. You put all this together to get this one whole understanding. You come to a point and you're like, oh, damn, I get it. I truly understand now where I'm at, what I am, where I'm at, and how this thing functions. I get it now. I really understand now. You begin to relax. You become more calm. You go through a certain psychosis because it begins to bug you out after a while, you know. But it should be a short spurt. You shouldn't be bugging out for too long because you usually get over that. Most people get over that once they understand, okay, well, I get it. It's kind of a wow factor at first, like, wow. But you get over that hump. You get over that Wednesday. And when you get over that bridge and you cross over to the other aspect of yourself, you become more of a calm body. You become more in delta state and theta state. And you begin to breathe more relaxed. Now, that's not by mistake, because your lungs, which were part since your brain, the longitudinal fissure closed and became the smooth ashela over the philosopher's stone, the pineal gland as in mythology, your lungs come together as well. The glands come together. And it begins, you begin to breathe more slower and calmly, not by mistake, intentionally. It's actually cosmic intention. You begin to do this unintentionally. It just happens. The lungs come closer to the heart, which means that your breathing now becomes more calm. And as your breathing becomes more calm and your lungs inflate and deflate, they massage the heart in the middle, and you become more of a graceful, relaxed, calm individual. And as well, the kidneys become closer because everything that had two sides begin to come as one. So not only does your brain do it, your biology, but your anatomy begins to mimic the biology, because the biology is a direct reflection of your psychology. So you begin to put the loose pieces together on the puzzle board. Okay? Why do you think they're called organs? And these organs, kidneys. Organs are called organs because they can transform and become organized by your mind. Organs are things which can shapeshift and relocate. They're not things that are just stuck in your body. They can move, they can shapeshift, go out of different shapeshift, they can vibrate, they shake, they vibrate, they pulsate. They can move. Everybody's heart is not in the same place. It's not in to the left. Some people's heart are more to the middle. Some people's heart are more to the right. Some people's kidneys are more higher. Some people's kidneys are more lower. Some people's kidneys are more in different levels. These things are organs because they become organized by the mindset of you. They can shapeshift and relocate. These are things that move in organization, in accordance with the shift, focus, and direction of your mind. Please keep that in mind. Next doorway is become more aware. Become more aware of what, Amias? What do you mean? Aware of what? Be more aware of the smallest triggers rather than the bigger triggers. And we all become triggered. The avatar, the ego, gets triggered. That's what it's made for. It's made to become triggered through the emotional body, the soma body. Be more aware of the smallest triggers rather than the biggest triggers or the bigger triggers. Why? Smaller triggers exist in the sublayers of the mind. Therefore, they uncontrollably hibernate, fester, grow, mold, and spread itself rapidly throughout mind and body, but underneath the radar of your consciousness. This is why the smallest triggers can affect you the most, because they're underneath the radar of your consciousness. Small triggers like somebody stepping on your feet, it's traffic jam, it's a green light, you're about to pull off and somebody walks across while you're about to pull off. And you want to curse this person out. You want to drive past them, stop, and pull your window down and curse somebody out, or just road rage. Somebody you in the store and somebody cuts you or tries to cut you in line at Walmart or grocery store or a gas station getting gas. Somebody, you walking down the street and somebody bumps you by mistake. Or it could be on purpose. I don't know, whatever. But these little things add up. They add up. And they just come and they go. And you don't give it any more thought. But it doesn't mean that it still does not exist somewhere within your nervous system, underneath the radar of your consciousness. And it does. So the smallest triggers are to be more aware of, because they exist in the sublayers of your mind and your body. Bigger triggers exist on the surface of your mind. Therefore, they're more displayed and exposed, and have the potential to be more controlled, foreseen, and predictive. Like if you come home late, or if your lady's coming home late, she's like, damn, he doesn't like when I come home late. I'm coming home late, there was traffic. How am I gonna explain this to him? He has to wake up for work tomorrow morning, or it could be whatever. Or, any whatever situation, relationship situation, especially relationship situations. I always bring up these relationship examples and relationship situations, because these are the people, the individuals who can affect you emotionally and psychologically, and who are tied to you emotionally and psychologically through the agreement of you. Relationships are the best schools ever to get a real deep understanding and connection with yourself, with the self. Smallest triggers are subliminal and subtle, adds up and builds up quietly and quickly. Small triggers are quiet and hidden, but more influential and more powerful on the subconscious. And they're also hidden underneath the radar of your awareness. Bigger triggers are more influential and powerful on the conscious. Bigger triggers are obvious and predictive. Like, you know what ticks your lady off. You know what ticks your man off. You know these things. And if you come across these things, you can predict them. That this might trigger you off. You're going to say, I'm going to come to him relax, or I'm going to come to her relax. I'm going to let her know what happened. She can get mad. She can get pissed off. We may get into an argument, but I'm going to keep my cool. You can kind of slightly predict it. But even though she may say something in that and you may get triggered, but still in all, it's still more predictive, the bigger triggers. Bigger triggers, ultimately, these triggers stagnate your manifesting capabilities, because true manifestation is relaxation. Now, this goes to manifestation. Bigger triggers keeps you tense and alert. Ultimately, these triggers stagnate, or can, or have the power or potential to stagnate your manifesting capabilities, because true manifestation is relaxation. Understand what I just said? True manifestation is on the foundation of relaxation. It's most powerful on the foundation of relaxation, which is free-flowing, oscillating energy, or potential energy. So keep this in mind, whether it be small triggers, whether it be bigger triggers, any trigger, if you don't bring your awareness into that situation, or when you walk outside, or even walking through your home, you stub your toe, you hit your toe on the bottom of your bed, you have iron or metal or hard or wood or whatever, and you hit your toe there, you know, you're going to get thrown off in a moment for a quick second, but you may curse, you may yell, you may punch the wall, you may kick the wall, you may kick something around. That's a trigger. See, so it's just keeping these things in mind and not repeating the same old habits that you've done before. Not repeating these habits is the whole point. Don't let it throw you emotionally off, because once you become emotionally off, your somatic nervous system, the nerve endings become more damaged, more wear and tear. And as that happens, you find it's more challenging to be and remain a relaxed individual, a calm individual. And manifestation is based upon the foundation of relaxation. If you look back at our ancestors, they were relaxed people. They were just, you look what they're doing all day. They're sitting against a tree. They're walking in the field amongst the animals. And they made things happen. That's why me and you are here right now. This was made through the minds of our lineage, of our genetic lineage. We come from telepathic and telekinetic beings. This is what we come from. This is our ancient genetic lineage. We are a mind people. This conversation that we're having right now, this video being held right now, was in the mind of someone maybe 30, 40, 50,000 years ago, or 100,000 years ago. That's another conversation. Okay, let me go, because I want to spider web into different points on that, but I'm not gonna. The next doorway is Amias. Is it possible to locate or identify these stagnations within my body? These manifesting stagnations, because like I said, this can stagnate your manifesting capabilities when your emotional body becomes shot, becomes zapped, becomes tapped. Amias, is it possible to locate or identify these stagnations within my body? And if so, where? These are things to keep in mind of. Pains, aches, and tightness in the back of your neck, which is the CNS, the central nervous system. As well as pain, aches, and tightness in the mid to lower spine. This is your CNS and PNS, your central nervous system and your peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system is what comes down the spine, and the peripheral nervous system is what spiders around the spine, around your ribs, into your organs, your chest, your lower abdomen, so on and so forth. This is the central nervous system, and this is the peripheral nervous system that sprouts out like branches from the tree of the central nervous system and wraps around your ribs, to your heart, and so on and so forth, as well as around your abdomen, your intestines, and something called the omentum, as well as a muscle in front of the stomach. Also be aware of these stagnations, to identify these stagnations, pains, aches, and tightness in the chest, which is the respiratory system, also connected to your ear, or circulatory, pardon me. Also be aware of pains, aches, and tightness in the abdomen, which is your circulatory system. Also be aware of pains, aches, and tightness in the anal canal. This is the alimentary system, as well as the alimentary canal and the vagus nerve. So be aware of any kind of pains, aches, or tightness in these locations. If you have to hear this again, just rewind it. When you rewind it, write these notes down. These specific occurrences happen within all the pipes, tubes, and canals within the body. Pains, aches, and tightness happens within the pipes, tubes, and canals of the body. These inner pipes, tubes, and canals are basically things in the depths of the body that can tighten, constrict, squeeze, clench, cramp, and clutch. And these are the things and the locations that pinch. It pinches oscillated free-flowing energies. These energies are both solar phallic, yoni phallic, dealing with the penis and the vagina, are both solar phallic and yoni phallic, okay, that ultimately affect nerve endings throughout the whole body. And anything that affects nerve endings affects the release or ejection of spiritual solar expression. We write with our fingers, write with our hands, we grab a pen or a pencil. At the tip of every tip, at the tip of the nose, the tip of the tongue, the tip of every, at the phallus, the tip of the nipples, the tip of the fingers. At the tip is where creativity happens. And these are known as nerve endings underneath the skin. Nerve endings. Creation, nursing, creation. Breathing, tasting. Any tip to something is a nerve ending. And that nerve ending is the release of spiritual expression. And these are things that affect nerve endings. These pains, aches, tightenings that pinch, clamp, clutch, squeeze, clench. This is what causes manifestation stagnation. Just certain things to keep in mind. And let me see. So that's where I'm gonna keep it at right now. I'm gonna keep it there for now. I got a few more points, but like I said, I'm kind of busy at the moment. I'm gonna get back to the long videos probably after this one. But these are just the last 2 or 3 points that I had wanted to touch upon, that I was gonna touch upon before in the first video, but didn't because I had to run and do a few things. So take this food for now, make of it what you will. If you have any more questions or concerns to further or expand this kind of understanding based upon this topic that we're touching upon, book a consultation, hit me by email. You guys can also, I guess after I start the classes next week, if you're interested in the spring classes starting in May, let me know as soon as possible because these seats get booked up pretty quick. There's a lot of people in these classes. So this channel was one of my streams, and one of the things that I do with the passion, with love, I do this every day. I live this life every moment of my life, and people around me as well is incorporated in this gnosis. I keep me around me. It's very important to do so. I suggest you do the same thing for yourself. Keep people who are in your vibration, on your frequency, and share your signal around you. Or they will basically find themselves around you anyway. No, you're going to draw to you what you are supposed to have around you. That's just the laws of frequency and how it works. Yeah, so like I said, a lot of the rings I wear, most of the rings I wear, jewelry I wear, from time to time, I'll let y'all know, are jewelry that I have on the website for purchase. As well as the oils and the other powerful things. I'm about to throw a few testimonials on the website, because I've been getting some real supernatural stories of things that's been happening. A few people in my classes as well hit the lottery. applied to certain practices and made things happen. Okay, I live well. And I want you guys to do the same as well. So I'm here to teach or share or remind you of the same practices that I became privy to. The beginning of my path was really based upon the principles of love. As you look back at my older videos, my way older videos, is based upon the principles of love, like my book is as well. My book is on Barnes & Noble, Amazon, thriftbooks.com, a few different places. Like I said, I'm also a book writer. I'm a martial arts teacher. So I'm doing a few different things at one time. Bear with me. I appreciate the understanding and the patience very much. But, you know, when you have something, you give something. You know, I give it how I live it. And I live it how I give it. I don't want to take up too much of your time. But I'm going to leave it as that. Am I as I am, most importantly, as you are. I'll see you guys in class. Y'all know who I'm talking to. And the rest of y'all, book a consultation. Let's build, let's connect. It's that time. It's past that time. And we're timeless. But let's get rolling. As you are.